welcome to FPL Cheat Sheet Briefing, the podcast that gives you a data-driven edge in the Fantasy Premier League.
And we are back, ready to give you that edge for Game Week 12. We've got a huge deep dive for you today.
We really do.
We're going to break down the optimal teams for three very different strategies. The long-term wildcard, the all-out attack free hit for this week, and of course, the differentials wildcard for everyone hunting down their mini-league rivals.
That is a packed agenda. But, as always, we have to start by looking back. Before we get excited about Game Week 12, we have to hold ourselves accountable for Game Week 11.
Absolutely. The retrospective is, it's the most crucial part of what we do.
It really is. We need to see where our expected points, the projections lined up with the actual points. It tells us what worked and just as importantly, what didn't.
Exactly. And Game Week 11 taught us some, well, let's call them uncomfortable lessons, especially around captaincy and some of those budget picks. So yeah, let's not shy away from the misses. It's how we get better.
Okay, let's start with the standard wildcard team from last week. The model was pretty bullish on this one, but the final score, it didn't quite hit those heights, did it?
No, that's a fair way to put it. The team scored 48 points in the end. Now, context is everything.
Right.
The average score was just 38, so, we were still 10 points clear of the average manager. That's a solid green arrow.
But not what the machine predicted.
Not even close. The model projected 59.15 expected points. So we came in about 11 points under what we hoped for. We need to figure out where that variance came from.
And looking at the breakdown, it wasn't a bunch of small misses. It seems to have come from the one player you least expect. From Haaland.
Precisely. He was the captain, and he really underperformed. We had him down for 5.59 expected points.
And he got
just 4. Now, when your captain, who is supposed to be your anchor, misses by almost 2 points, you double that, and that just drags the whole team's score down with it. It's a huge hit.
So what was it? Did he just not get the chances, or was it a case of poor finishing?
It was more the finishing, actually. The data shows he was in the right spots. The model was right about where the opportunities would be, but the shots were blocked, or they just weren't good enough. It's that human element, that random variable you can't always predict.
And it wasn't just Haaland, was it? There were a couple of other key underperformers.
Yeah, in that mid-price bracket, Ndiaye, for example. We had him projected at 5.36 expected points, and he came back with just 3.
Ouch.
And Mateta was even worse, a projection of 4.86, and he delivered 2 points. So between those two, you've lost almost 6 points right there.
That's the risk with those mid-priced forwards, I suppose. They're a bit more hit or miss.
It is. They rely on those big moments, a goal or an assist, whereas the premium midfielders can tick along a bit more consistently. But, it wasn't all bad news for the model.
Okay, good. Where did it shine?
Well, Mbeumo was fantastic. He got 7 actual points against a projection of just over 5. That's a great overperformance. And in defense, Lacroix was solid. 6 points against a 4.60 projection. And Fernandes was, he was as reliable as ever. 5 points, almost bang on his 5.09 prediction. So the core premium mids, they held up their end of the bargain.
So the structure was sound, but the captaincy and the forwards, that's where the variance bit us.
Pretty much. Now, let's talk about the big win, the free hit team.
Right. This was the complete opposite story, an absolute smash.
This is what happens when you optimize for just 1 week. The team scored a massive 74 points.
74.
Against a projection of 61.31. That is a huge overperformance. We nearly doubled the average score. It was a phenomenal week for anyone on that chip.
And the big story here was dodging the Haaland captaincy, which is what sunk the wildcard team.
It was everything. The model said to avoid him for the captaincy, to chase a higher ceiling elsewhere, and it paid off beautifully. We had a bit of FPL drama, actually.
Yeah.
Our initial captain pick was a Chimpong, a real differential, but he didn't end up playing.
So the armband went to the vice captain.
It went to Saka, and Saka delivered. Big time. 12 points against a 5.60 expected points projection. It was just pure FPL gold, and it really shows you why that vice captain pick is so, so important on a free hit.
Absolutely. Who else stepped up in that 74-point haul?
O'Reilly was a star again. 11 points against a 4.54 projection. This guy is just incredible value. Juan Pedro also came good, 7 points.
A lot of people had sold him, too.
They had, but the data said hold. And Pickford in goal, 7 points. A fantastic goalkeeper choice. That team was just firing on all cylinders.
Okay, and quickly, the differentials wildcard. The one for the Mavericks with under 15% ownership.
Yeah.
How did that squad do?
It also did really well. It scored 53 actual points, which was very close to its 55.95 projection. And again, way ahead of the average. It proves you don't need the template players to get a great score.
Who was the star there?
Thiago, without a doubt. He brought in a massive 13 points.
Wow.
Against a projection of just 4.5 sucks. That is exactly the kind of explosive return you're looking for with a differentials team. And O'Reilly, him again, with 11 points. He was just the man of the week.
But there was one big miss, right?
Yeah, the same one as the free hit, unfortunately. Chimpong didn't play. And he was projected for 5.65 expected points, so that became a 0, which really hurts. It's the risk you take with those super low-owned guys.
Okay, so the big takeaway from the retro is that the model is strong, but we need to be mindful of variance, especially with low-owned players' minutes. Let's carry that forward.
Let's do it.
Game week 12. The Optimal Wildcard team. This is the big one for people looking to set their teams up for the long run.
It is. The mindset here is completely different from a free hit. We're building for the next 5 game weeks. The model uses specific weights for each week.
Right, so it's not just about this weekend.
Not at all. Game week 12 and 13 have a full 1.00 weight. Then it tapers off slightly, 0.90 for game week 14, 0.80 for 15, and 0.75 for game week 16.
And why that taper? Is the model just less certain the further out you go?
Exactly. It's a balance. We want to prioritize the immediate fixtures where we have the most certainty, but we're still planning for that 5th game week. It stops you from getting caught in a fixture trap down the line. It's a much smarter way to build a team.
Makes sense. The team value is a full 100 million, and for this game week, the starting 11 is projected at 54.91 expected points. Solid.
Very solid. And if you were to bench boost, the whole squad is at 62.63. It's a great foundation.
So let's start at the back. Goalkeepers. A wild card needs a reliable pairing.
And we think we have the perfect one. It's a rotation of Roofs at 4.7 million and Pope at 5.2 million. It's a really nice balance of price and performance.
Set and forget. Really?
Pretty much. Look at Roofs' run of expected points, 3.82, 4.41, then a few in the mid-threes, and Pope's is similar, 3.82, 3.68, 4.21. You're getting consistent high-end returns for less than 10 million combined.
And that saving lets you spend big elsewhere.
It's critical. Now, the defense, this is where the model makes a very bold call. A double up on the Manchester City defense.
Wow, okay. That feels aggressive. I mean, given they haven't been keeping many clean sheets recently.
I know. It feels counterintuitive, but this is where you have to trust the underlying data over the last couple of results.
So the data still loves them defensively.
It does. Their expected goals conceded numbers are still the best in the league. The goals they've let in have been, down to individual mistakes or freak events, not a broken system. The wild card looks past the noise and trusts the system.
Okay, I'm sold. So who are the 2 picks?
We've gone for Gvardiol at 5.8 million. He has a 95% chance to start, so he's reliable. And we're pairing him with O'Reilly at 5 million. He only starts about 70% of the time, but the value when he does play is just incredible.
And Gvardiol's numbers must be good long-term.
They're fantastic. Look at his next 5 expected points. 4.09, 5.18, 4.31, 5.06, 4.26. That is just rock-solid, reliable output.
And who rounds out that defense?
We have Lacroix from Crystal Palace at 5 million and the budget enabler, Tuanzebe, at 3.9 million.
Okay, now the midfield. This looks like where all that saved money has gone. It's stacked.
It is. The core is Saka at 10.1, Fernandes at 8.9, Mbeumo at 8.5, and Sarr at 6.7 million. This is a midfield built to score points week in, week out across a number of good teams and fixtures.
Now, this is a really interesting part, the captaincy. For the 2nd week running, the model is telling us to avoid Haaland. Saka is captain. Fernandes is vice.
That's right.
So explain this. I mean, for a long-term wild card, not captaining the highest-owned player in the game feels like a huge risk. Why is the data so insistent on this?
It's pure cold-hearted optimization. Look, Haaland at 14.9 million is absolutely mandatory in the squad. You have to own him. His season-long numbers are too good.
But not for the armband this week.
Not this week. His expected points are 5.64, which is great. But Saka's against Crystal Palace are 6.27, and Fernandes against Everton is at 6.19. The model is simply saying there are 2 fixtures this week with a higher probability of an explosive return.
So you get the safety of owning Haaland, but you maximize your points for the week by captaining someone else.
That's it, exactly. It's about finding those marginal games. And over a season, those small decisions are what wins you your mini leagues.
And looking at their 5-week runs, you can see the appeal. Saka's numbers are huge.
His run is incredible, 6.27, then 5.22, then a massive 6.59 and 7.31 coming up. And Fernandes is just Mr. Consistent, always around that 5.5 to 6 point mark. They are the bedrock of this team.
All right, and up front, Haaland is there, but who is his partner?
We're sticking with Thiago at 6.3 million. He rewarded us with 13 points last week, and his projection is still solid at 4.42 expected points. With only 11% ownership, he's the perfect differential to sit alongside Haaland.
So the message for wildcarders is lock in the structure, trust the keeper rotation, and don't be afraid to move the captaincy around based on the data.
You've got it. That's the path to success.
Okay, let's switch gears completely. The free hit team. This is all about this weekend. Maximum attack.
All about game week 12. The model weights reflect that, a 1.00 for this week and basically 0 for the next 4. We are chasing the highest possible score we can get.
And the projection shows that. The starting 11 is at 59.03 expected points. That's a huge jump from the wildcard team.
It is. The total squad is at 67.69. We're making aggressive short-term picks you just couldn't justify in a long-term plan.
And the biggest change is the captaincy. That's a huge one.
It is. We're moving it to Salah. He's playing Nottingham Forest, and his expected points are a colossal 7.22.
7.22.
It's the highest projection of any player this week by a country mile. The model sees this as the absolute premium fixture to target. Haaland at 5.64 just can't compete with that this week.
And Fernandes is still the safe vice captain.
He is. 6.19 expected points is a fantastic fallback.
Okay, keepers. For a 1-week punt, what's the plan?
Simple. Dubravka at 4 million and Petrovic at 4.5. Both are 100% nailed to start. Petrovic gets the nod in the starting team with 4.01 expected points against West Ham, a solid, cheap 1-week option.
Now, the defense is really interesting. We're going all in on Arsenal, a triple up.
We are. You'd never do this on a wild card, but for 1 week, the data screams that an Arsenal clean sheet is highly likely.
So who are the 3?
Saliba at 6 million and Jay Timber at 6.1 million. And we're also keeping Lacroix from Crystal Palace. His 4.46 expected points are just too good to ignore. We're swapping out the long-term City picks for the immediate Arsenal upside.
And the midfield. Mix of the old and the new.
We're keeping Mbeumo, Sarr, and Fernandes. Their individual projections are just too high to drop, but the big aggressive move, which is only possible because we've dropped Haaland,
Is Gakpo.
Gakpo from Liverpool, 7.5 million. He has an 80% chance to start and a really high-risk, high-reward projection of 5.43 expected points.
80% sounds pretty safe. Why do you call him high risk?
It's about his role, really. He can play in a few different positions, and his minutes aren't always guaranteed for the full 90, so there's a bit of variance there. When he hits big, but he can also return 2 points. On a free hit, you chase that ceiling.
Got it. And the forwards? No Haaland means a total restructure.
Total restructure. We're bringing back Jean Pedro at 7.5 million. He's up against Burnley, which the model loves. His projection is 5.18.
And his partner?
Mateta, 8.1 million. He's playing Wolves, and he's projected for 5.58 expected points. It's a forward line built entirely to exploit this week's fixtures.
So for free hitters, the message is clear. Be brave, drop Haaland, captain Salah, and stack up on the teams with the best single-week fixtures.
That's the blueprint.
Okay, on to our third and final team, the one for the thrill seekers, the Differentials Wildcard, where every player is under 15% owned.
This is my favorite one to analyze. It's such a fun puzzle. You have to find value where nobody else is looking.
And the first thing you notice is the team value is way down, only 92.5 million. That's a huge drop.
Yeah.
Does that just prove we're all overpaying for the big names?
I mean, that's a great question. It certainly proves there's value to be found elsewhere. Dropping Haaland and Salah saves you a fortune. And yet the model still finds a starting 11 with 51.52 expected points.
That's still really competitive.
It is. It shows you that the FPL crowd is maybe ignoring some really solid defenders and mid-price players.
Okay, keepers. Henderson from Crystal Palace gets the start here.
Yep. 4.2 expected points, paired with Pope on the bench. Now, the captaincy, this is where it gets really wild.
It was a very tight call.
Extremely tight. The model has landed on Ndiaye, who is 11.9% owned as the captain. He's up against Fulham with a projection of 5.29 expected points.
Hang on, Ndiaye. The same Ndiaye who underperformed for us last week? And you're giving him the armband? That feels like chasing last week's points.
I know. It's a tough one to swallow. But this is about trusting the data, not your gut. Last week's performance is irrelevant. This week, against Fulham, the model sees a much, much better fixture for him.
So it's purely a fixture-based pick.
Purely. In the world of under 15% owned players, he has the highest projected ceiling this week. It's a high-risk pick for sure, but that's the whole point of this team. The vice-captain is Sarr, by the way, very close behind at 5.21 expected points.
Okay, I see the logic. It's a pure variance play. Now, the defense is fascinating. You got some premium players in here who just happen to be low-owned.
This is where we find huge value. Trippier at $5 million is only 2.4% owned. That is insane.
That is crazy.
We also have Saliba at 11.6% ownership and Lacroix at 3.9%. And we've still got that Man City differential double up of Gvardiol and O'Reilly. It's a defense that punches way above its ownership levels.
And who are the star picks in midfield and up top?
In midfield, we've got Eze from Arsenal at 13.4% ownership. He's projected for 4.71. And a real deep cut, Jay Murphy from Newcastle, just 1.2% owned with a 4.53 projection.
A true hidden gem.
Absolutely. And up front, Thiago is back again. 11% ownership, 5.02 expected points. He's just essential in this format.
And who finishes that attack?
Raul at 0.9% ownership, and Watkins, who has dropped to just 6.4% ownership. Watkins is still projected for 4.26 expected points. He's a proven goal scorer that most of the game has just forgotten about.
It's an incredible team. It really does show that you can build a competitive squad without following the herd.
Okay, before we wrap up, we need to tackle the biggest headache of the last 2 weeks, the international break injuries. Our inbox has been absolutely flooded.
It always is. And this time, the big questions are about Gabriel, Semenyo, and Guehi. Let's break them down one by one, starting with the biggest problem for a lot of managers, Gabriel.
Yeah, the situation with Gabriel at Arsenal is it's pretty serious. The rumors today, which is Tuesday, so 4 days before the deadline, are that he could miss 1 to 2 months.
1 to 2 months. That's a definite transfer out, surely.
For most people, yes. I mean, 2 months is 8 game weeks. You just can't have that much money sitting on your bench doing nothing. The general advice is to sell him.
Is there any reason to keep him?
The only small argument is if you bought him really cheap and have built up a lot of value. Selling him means you lose that cash. So if you have a strong bench, you could maybe hold for a week to see if the news gets better. But honestly, it's a long shot. A transfer is the smart move.
Okay, so if you're selling, who does the data say to bring in? What are the best alternatives?
We've broken it down into 5 categories of replacements for you.
Perfect.
Option 1 is the simple one. Just switch to another Arsenal defender. You could go for Jay Timber at 6.1 million or Saliba at 6.0, but the one the model is really high on this week is Calafiori at 5.8 million. His expected points for this game week are a massive 5.34.
Wow, that's huge for a defender.
It is. He looks like a fantastic short-term punt. Option 2 is to look at Crystal Palace. They have good fixtures. Munoz is 5.8 million with 4.47 expected points, or you can get Lacroix for just 5 million with almost identical numbers at 4.46.
Lacroix seems like the better value there.
He does. Option 3, Chelsea. Cucurella at 6.1 million is projected for 4.16. A bit pricier, but a good pick if you need that Chelsea spot.
Okay, what's 4?
Option 4 is to play the Man City roulette. It's risky, but the ceiling is high. Gvardiol at 5.8 or O'Reilly at 5.0. Their expected points are around 4.1. You just have to accept they might get benched sometimes.
And the last one.
A value pick, Van Dijk. He's dropped to 5.9 million. Liverpool's fixtures are getting better, and he's projected for a solid 4.08 expected points. He's a great, safe, set-and-forget option if you're tired of the rotation risks.
That's a fantastic breakdown. So you have high ceiling punt in Calafiori, a value pick in Lacroix, and a safe long-term hold in Van Dijk. Something for everyone.
Exactly.
Okay, next up, Guehi from Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
What's the news on him?
Much better news here. He got injured before the break, but our expectation is high that he'll be back. We're estimating an 85% chance he starts in game week 12.
So the advice is to hold.
Hold for now. Don't waste a transfer unless you absolutely have to.
And finally, Semenyo. He came off injured playing for Bournemouth, which worried a lot of owners.
He did. He played 56 minutes in a friendly and was then subbed off. But our information suggests it was just a precaution. We're projecting him to be fit and to play in game week 12. And if not, he'll definitely be back for game week 13 at the latest. The model still trusts him. His expected points for this week are a strong 5.54.
Okay, that's a huge relief for his owners. Great stuff. So let's just quickly summarize the big takeaways for game week 12.
Yeah, I think it's about choosing your strategy. The wild card is the marathon, built for consistency.
Right. It's all about those premium midfielders like Saka and Fernandes, the keeper rotation, and that bold but data-backed City double up in defense. You're playing the long game.
Then you have the free hit, which is the sprint. It's all about this 1 week. Dropping Haaland, captaining Salah for his massive 7.22 projection, and stacking up on Arsenal defenders.
And finally, the Differentials Wildcard, which proves you can find huge value outside the template. Low-owned gems like Thiago and taking a calculated risk on a captain like Ndiaye is how you climb the ranks fast.
We really encourage everyone listening to dig into the data themselves, look at the fixture runs, look at the player projections, and of course you can follow FPL Cheat Sheet on X and subscribe to our channel on YouTube and Spotify for all the latest updates.
Wishing all listeners a good game week, and may the FPL gods be with you.